In this next video, I want to talk about how you go about completing your online homework, quiz, and test assignments through the connected online platform. So when I click on content here, I'm going to go to the section in the navigation bar titled Homework, Quizzes, and Exams. You'll notice a link here. This is the link that's going to take you to another window that'll open up, and that's where all of the online assignments for the homework, quizzes, and exams will be held. The first time you click this link, you may be asked to either log in with an existing Pearson account, or you may have to create a new account if you've never used a Pearson product before. After that, every time you click that link, you'll be taken to this landing page here, and you'll notice that this is a list of all the assignments for the entire course. On the left-hand side over here are the due dates for the assignments. They should match up with the calendar that I provided for the course, as well as quizzes. And notice that on the right-hand side over here, there's a little bit of information as well on this assignment page. You'll notice that for each of these blue dotted homework assignments, there's no limit to the number of attempts listed over here, and there's no time limit. That means that you have an unlimited number of attempts to complete the homework until the due date. And again, the due dates are listed for you over here on the left. Notice that once I get down to the quiz section, which is this orange square here, there's not only a flag on the left-hand side stating that there is a prerequisite, there's also information about a time limit on the quiz, as well as the number of attempts that you get. So when we're looking at the quizzes, the course is set up so that you must complete each of these homework assignments to a minimum of 70, a score of 70, to a minimum of a score of 70 prior to being able to complete the quiz. Now, what does that mean for you? That means that, for example, these first two homework assignments that are listed for you here, you get an unlimited number of attempts to make that minimum score of 70, but you have to complete these assignments by their due date. So each week you have to meet not only the deadline, but also a minimum score requirement in order to be able to ultimately access the quiz. This is for your benefit. If you are making at least a 70 on the homework assignments in a timely manner, then that should help you with successfully completing the quiz. And you'll see that if you haven't met the minimum score, this blue flag right here will not disappear. It's telling you that you haven't met the prerequisites yet. So other than the blue circled homeworks, the orange squared quizzes, you'll also notice in here that there is a midterm as well as a final exam. So the midterm and the final exam have prerequisites that must be met on them as well. In order to take the midterm, you have to make a minimum of 60 on each of the two quizzes that lead into the midterm. So the previous materials quizzes. You'll notice that there is also a time limit for this midterm, and you only get one attempt at the midterm. I'm going to talk a little bit further, a little bit more about the quizzes and the midterms in just a moment, but for those of you who've never seen how Pearson works or how this online assignment portal works, let's just click on one of the links here. You'll notice that when I clicked the link for this for the homework over section 1.4, you're not going to want to attempt this homework until you have watched the lecture video and taken notes over this section already. And I have a previous video that talks to you about that. The information here in this header is a reminder for when is the homework due, how many attempts will you get on each question, and then you'll notice here that there actually is a late penalty. So if you read through the course syllabus, you'll see that there is a grace period for late work. All homework is assigned and due every Sunday by 11:59 p.m. But if for some reason you're unable to complete the assignment up to a 70 by this deadline, you have 2 more days to be able to complete the assignment up to a 70, understanding that you're going to receive a small penalty because it was submitted late. So homework is due every Sunday night. Late work will be due by Tuesday night, and there's no extension on the late work. So if you notice here, there's 16 questions in this homework assignment. I'm just going to randomly click on any question here. I could have clicked the start button at the bottom, but I can click this question here. And now what I have is I entered the homework on question 13. You'll see a list of all the homework questions here on the left-hand side in this navigation bar. And where do I go from here? The question you're working on is listed for you right here. It says perform the indicated operation. You're going to be foiling or multiplying this binomial, and you have a imaginary number in here. It'll be a complex number. All this information will be given to you once you watch the lecture, if you don't remember how to do that. And then, so you'll go through, and on your piece of paper, you're going to write down this homework problem, and you'll work the problem. Then you'll come into this blank here, and you'll enter the answer. Pay attention to how you're being asked to enter the answers. Sometimes you may enter the answer in a format that is not what was requested by the question, and you'll get it wrong. And so you need to pay attention to how you're supposed to enter the answer, because although your answer may technically be right, if you didn't enter it in the correct format, it's going to be counted wrong. Notice down here at the bottom of the screen, it's called there's this math palette. So each of the blue squares represents a region where you could enter some sort of mathematical equation or notation. And here is the I. This is the imaginary I. And since I'm on this screen, I get this question a lot. Sometimes students will use the I from their keyboard, and I think it counts it wrong. I'm not really sure. I think that's one of the issues they may have. So make sure that if you're going to put the I for the imaginary part on a complex or an imaginary number, let's use the one from the palette here. Now, what else is at this bottom screen? There's a help me solve it option. There's a video. This is not my lecture video. This is a video from the publisher. And then there's some options for some more help. Now, for the help me solve this, if you choose to use the help me solve it, this is something that students will, they like to be able to do this because it gives them a little bit more extra help. Maybe they see the example again, or how to work this particular problem. It's going to walk you through how the textbook would explain how to do this. If there's any difference between the way I'm explaining it in a lecture video versus how the textbook explains it, that'll kind of become apparent during some of these explanations. But you'll notice that there's 7 parts here. You have to kind of fill in the parts as you're working through this explanation. Ultimately, you'll figure out, it'll show you how to give you get the answer. Then what happens is you'll notice, I don't know if you noticed that really quickly, but it changed the problem. Anytime I do a help me solve this, once I've completed that help me solve it option, it regenerates a new problem for me to now practice. There's also, like I said, a video here. This other help would be, I have students who will ask me a question on their homework, and this is a great way for you to do that. What it does is it sends me a direct link to the exact problem that you're working on, because not everybody's problems are the same. And all I would ask is that during that, that question that you're asking, let me know what it is that you're having a problem with. I don't know how to start this problem. I have tried to multiply and I keep getting the answer wrong. Somewhere along the way, give me an idea of what you're having an issue with so that I can more accurately assist you. And then over here, we have a skill builder. This is generated automatically from the assignments, and you're welcome to check out the skill builder. I would leave that up to you. And then grayed out right here is this check answer. So let's just say that I put a number 6 in here. It says check answer. I got it wrong. It gives me a hint. I'm going to check my answer again. I get it wrong. Final check. I still got it wrong. It tells me the correct answer here. And then it put, let's see, let's go back to the homework problem. You'll notice that it is going to give me an X over here on the question. Now I have the option to do a similar question. So remember, this is -3 plus the square root of -9 inside of those parentheses, and it will regenerate the problem. And if I can get this problem right this second or third or unlimited number of times, then it will now give me credit for the question. Like I told you a moment ago, you have to score a 70 or above on all of your homework assignments in order to access the quizzes. So this similar question option becomes very important. Now let's exit out of the homework here, and you can click the Save button to exit out of it, and it's going to take us back to that homework screen that we were looking at. So I'm going to exit out of this. I'm going to reopen that. And now you'll notice that because I entered the homework of 1.4 and I attempted to do something on it, it's going to show some score. This score will keep updating until the due date passes. Now, let's talk about your quizzes. So the quizzes are not intended to be open notes. Of course, it's a quiz. You wouldn't use an open notes in my classroom, but you do get 2 attempts at your quizzes. So in order to prepare for the quizzes, you need to make sure that you understand all of these homework questions that you just worked. If you had to use a Help Me Solve It, like we were looking at a moment ago, in order to get an answer correct, you need to highlight that question, circle that question, or whatever, because when you go back to study from the quiz, that question we had to use a Help Me Solve It on is something you need to go back and practice again. You won't remember which questions you had to use Help Me Solve It on by the time you get to the study part of the quiz or to prepare for the quiz. So that would be my suggestion to you. And if you need extra practice over some of these Help Me Solve It problems, reach out to me and we can talk about that. So you get 2 attempts at the quiz. The quizzes, again, are timed. Typically what happens is students wait until Sunday night about 9:30 to try to complete all of their homework assignments, and they run out of time on the quizzes. So they only use 1 attempt, and then they don't get to take advantage of the second attempt because the deadline is passed. Or let's say you have left yourself enough time to take the quiz twice. Students will take the quiz, they'll look over it, and they'll go, oh, okay, I missed questions 2 and 3. Yeah, I see what I did wrong. That was a silly mistake, no problem. And boom, they go right back in and they take the quiz again. That usually doesn't work out well all the time. I would suggest that you go back in, review your problems that you missed, maybe rework the problem or a similar problem to it, just to give yourself that one more set of practice so that you take full advantage of the 2 attempts that you get for your quizzes. And then I said that I would talk about the midterm and the final, and I will finish up this video with that. The midterm and the final exam are both proctored using an online web service that utilizes a webcam. You must have access to a webcam either on a laptop or an externally connected webcam to a desktop. And we have both computers and webcams that you can check out that are available on campus. You just need to check with the academic support website for more information on that. So the midterm is proctored, which means that you'll be video recorded as well as having someone watching you or recording what you're doing to keep make sure that nobody's cheating. That's really what we're looking for there. And you have a time limit on the midterm as well as only one attempt. Now, just like the quizzes, the midterm is not an open note test. I do have a formula sheet that I provide and that will become available to you during the week of that midterm. And from then on, you can use it, well, you'll be able to use it for the midterm and the final exam. So that's how you are going to access the online homework, quizzes, and tests. And one other thing I'll note to you here, let's go back to the content section of the course. And you'll notice that there is a gradebook section. This gradebook here in the banner right here, that gradebook is your current gradebook. You'll notice that because I accessed that one homework, it's already showing up in the gradebook. And so here is how you will keep up with what your current grade is in the course. And you can look at it for all the assignments. And once you can open the window up, you can navigate all of that information here. So the gradebook link here is the official gradebook for the course. And so now you know how to go to the homework, quizzes, and exams, and you know how to access the gradebook.